Here's a step-by-step on how I make the masa for my beef tamales. In part 1, I show you how I make the filling. When I tell you these tamales are so moist and flavorful, you're going to want to save this recipe. I'm starting off with a large mixing bowl, but you can also go in with your hands or your stand mixer. I'm starting off by beating my lard for about 5 minutes until it gets into this nice whipped consistency. You're then going to want to add your baking powder and mix for another 2 minutes until it's well incorporated. At this point, we're ready to add our maseca, and I'm using maseca para tamales, seasoning with bouillon and salt. Since I made a larger batch, I added all of my maseca at the same time. You then want to add your beef broth and make sure it's very hot. I started off with half and then I started mixing with my hands, adding more broth and feeling the consistency. And here's where the flavor and the color comes in. I saved 2 cups of the red sauce and mixed with my hand mixer because it was very hot. I went back in with my hands and adding more broth and mixing for a good 25 minutes. And this ensures that you incorporate enough air and your tamales come out nice and fluffy. At this point, you can also taste test for salt, and you want it a bit saltier than you prefer. I find that some of the saltiness cooks off. I'm doing the floating test. You need a cup of water, add a piece of masa, and if it floats to the top, your masa is ready. If it doesn't, you can add a bit more broth or water or mix for a little longer. For the filling, I love adding potato, corn, and jalapeno, but you can also just do the meat on its own. And wrapping isn't my favorite part. My goal this year is to learn how to wrap tamales better. I got a few questions about my pot, and this was a gift from my mother-in-law, but it's a Princess House tamalera. And when I tell you that I love it that it has these dividers. It's easier to stand the tamales and to also separate the flavors. I ended up steaming on low for about 2 hours. And you also want to make sure that you allow your tamales to sit for a good 15 to 30 minutes before serving. And when I tell you this has to be my favorite batch yet, stay tuned for the other flavors of tamal recipes coming soon.